You're listening to Until They Sleep, a podcast where two parents finally get to sit down and discuss all the different things that run through their heads every day because their four kids are finally asleep. Thanks for listening.
Hello and welcome back to Until They Sleep. I am your host, Daniel, joined by my wife, Chantal. And I know we've been gone for a while, but I just want to say I missed you guys. And anything to say there, my lovely wife?
That was weird.
That's how pinned up I feel.
Oh, that's how pent up you feel.
Oh, I just wanted to get it out there and say.
People can take that differently.
I'm still going. Sorry. I'm just kind of like tripping out on it. It's just, it feels like it's been forever. It feels like it was a while since we recorded, talking about the book clubs and everything going on. And we've been going through hiatus and been busy with life. And I guess so, I guess we can just, cover sports with kids. I think that would be a good one, actually.
Okay, that sounds good. So we did a thing.
Yeah.
And we volunteered to be coaches.
Right.
For spring.
So.
Soccer and flag football.
So this is what's going on, right? Our kids, our daughter, number three, which is our daughter, came up and said to my wife that she wanted to play sports. And so my wife kind of relayed it to me, and then my daughter walked up to me, she's like, "Daddy, I want to play sports again." And I took it as a green light. I was like, "All right, awesome," because I always said I would never push sports on the kids unless it has to be from them. So of course I got very excited, and I went into it and started researching and looking into like leagues or anything around our area. Found this program called I9 Sports, and I figured, it's a good way to get them started and an introduction to sports and see if they like it, and they can build from there. Maybe make some local friends or find a new hobby for them, something that they like, right? In the process, we thought, well, you know what? Let's get our number two active on something too, and he had shown interest that he wanted to play flag football. And what's he going into? Middle school?
Yeah, when he's starting 7th grade in August, and
right.
He had said that he wanted to play flag football in the fall.
Right, for the middle school.
Yeah, and so when you told me that they had flag football through this I9 Sports, I thought, well, why doesn't he start practicing now?
Right,
Since he literally knows nothing.
Yeah, right, and that was a great idea, like introduction, get the hang of it and doing it. So from the experience from our oldest boy, we find out that, I had a feeling that having coaches was going to be an issue. We have been in lacrosse. We saw hockey. We never saw it, but where sometimes the coaches are too busy and they don't have support. There's no parents involved, willing to help. Sometimes parents step up and they do the snacks or like the team mom and stuff like that. And at the same time, my wife ended up having recently a meeting with our number one, who's a high schooler now. And they had a meeting for the football team. And my wife learned how much parents are involved in this stuff and behind the scenes now. So out of that,
or what the expectation of involvement is, at least.
Yeah. So out of that, so that was the point. So I kind of volunteered myself when I was signing up the kids to be a standby or assistant coach. Literally what I wrote in there, right? Because they were like, "Hey, volunteers want it. Parents, please, if you think you can help out." I figured little kids, why not? A little soccer, maybe they need like an assistant coach. Because our daughter previously was in a league and the coach was overwhelmed, right, with the little kids not listening, and you need an extra hand.
And you also enrolled the 5-year-old. So our 5-year-old, our 7-year-old, both got enrolled into soccer and football, and our 11-year-old is enrolled in flag football.
Yes. So lo and behold, the things were signed up. This is like beginning of the year. We were waiting for the season to start, which was going to start like in March. And next thing you know, I'm assigned to 3 teams.
Yes. And when he told me he was assigned to 3 teams, I was just like, are you going to be able to do 3 teams?
Of course, the 3 teams are children.
Yes.
And then the schedule comes out, and I realized that there was a problem.
Yep. Yes.
I have games going on while I'm supposed to be having practice with another one. And then same thing, game going on while practice starts for the third team.
All 3 overlap.
All 3 were overlapping. I reached out to the organizer and asked if we can move the schedule around. Actually, didn't have a football team in the beginning. It was like kind of like in linger. So
In limbo.
limbo. Oh, thank you. And linger. What a dumbass. I didn't have any. So, guys, I hope you don't mind. You're gonna hear me sipping, and it's very annoying. I know. So I try not to do it on the microphone. But I poured myself a Guinness tonight. I'm turning into a real dad now. I feel like I've been drinking a little bit too much. Maybe it's the sports.
Could be the sports.
Man. So we went to a meeting. All the parents and everything. It's like a big introduction right to the league and everything because it's a new program in our area. And I still didn't know anything about a football team or anything. It kind of showed like I had a football team, but no team, like
There
no
was
names,
no
no nothing.
confirmation, yeah.
Right, and then the week of, I got the confirmation and everything. And I told my wife, I was like, hey, would you mind being an assistant coach with me? Just for moments, because of course, in order to be involved or help out with the kids, you have to pass a background check, right? We don't want any pedophiles or people with criminal records or anything like that that are not cleared to be,
around the kids.
Yeah, around the kids, and which is I can totally completely respect that, and I understand that. And as a parent, and even if I wasn't the coach, I want to make sure that the people that are around my kids are coaching them, teaching them, are good people. Right. So I went through my process, and when I saw that, and on that meeting, they brought up that they needed more coaches and they needed more help. So I asked my wife originally as a joke when we got back from that thing. I was like, hey, baby, maybe you should be my assistant coach.
Because I need more things to do.
Yeah. And I didn't mean it that way either.
No, I know. But in my head, I was just no, I definitely need more things
and it was more like a joke, right? Like
Yeah.
I said it jokingly, like, oh, yeah, look, we're short. Like, wouldn't it be awesome? But then, we started looking at the schedule and everything. We're like, oh, man.
Yeah, so Tuesday of the week before the first game, after logging in and looking at the schedules and stuff, I made the decision to enroll myself as an assistant coach.
Now, this is another thing about women and mothers, all right? They are so smart because I was like, oh, I can do this. It's not a big deal. I can figure it out. Like, I don't see what the big deal is, I'll just be here, blah, blah, and then I'll be like, hey, I'll be here for like most of half of the game, and then I'll go to the other one, okay? And you just help me out like a little bit, like, and just listen and whatever, like just follow off on that. Nope, it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. We're already in week 3.
I think in your head you had it like, oh, she can just stand there. Because I'm not a sports person. I don't really know much about soccer. I definitely don't know much about football. So I think in his head or your head, you were probably just like, oh, she can just stand there and watch them, after I go to the next team to do practice with the next team or go start the next game with the other person, as if I'm just babysitting. But that has not been the reality of it.
No, so I've been demoted from 2 teams as assistant coach. In my mind,
from coach to assistant coach.
My wife is now the head coach of the soccer teams, and I am mainly in charge of the flag football team. I had one dad step up and decided to help out by week 2, and yeah, it's been a awesome and interesting experience, most definitely, because they have a culture of doing things or the way that they want things done. I guess they've done some, analysis and what turns off kids from sports and makes them walk away, and why, kids are not so active and they don't follow the sports. Hard ass coaches and the whistles and all the things are.
I don't know. I really think whistles are important.
Oh no, for sure. It gets their attention, right?
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So the main issue was that the teams were overlapping. So first off is the Pee Wee League at what 9:10 is their practice, 9:40 is their game, but at 9:40 starts the flag football practice. So then you have to leave Pee-wee practice to go be with the football team, with the flag football team to start their process. That leaves me doing the game with the Pee-wee team.
Mm-hmm.
But when your game starts, our 7-year-old soccer practice starts, and you're still in the game when their game is actually going as well. So
Right.
you show up maybe halfway through, maybe in the last quarter of the soccer game for our
Yeah.
7-year-old.
Right. And I was supposed to be there when that game starts.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm supposed to report to the soccer team, the second soccer team, our juniors, by the time of kickoff. So far, 3 weeks, it has not happened. I think on first week was mayhem. It was just crazy. Nothing followed. There was no revs. There was nothing started on time. Second week went a little bit better schedule wise, but of course I think I made that game by halftime, and like right at halftime. And then this week I was able to make it there, halfway through the first half. So
I have been having to learn. And I'm the one on Fridays doing the, getting the rosters together and, confirming who's going to show up to the game and responding. The PR person, the secretary that makes sure that all the paperwork is put together. And again, this is, like you said, a mom thing probably.
yeah, no, you're great at it. I like how you follow up and you're like all nice and positive and giving everybody like a feedback. And you're saying like, I'm the coach that, I always want our kids to have. And I was like, okay, that's a good way of going about it, because I'm more of a coach of like, okay, guys, we'll see you next week and show up at this time and we'll start practice and we'll get going, right?
Yeah, but you're so much friendlier than I am on the field.
Yeah, I don't know. I love the sports and I love the kids. I
Well-
love the kids that are willing to be there and try to have a good time,
I think especially like the Pee-wee and the youth, like especially Pee-wee, they love you. Like the parents love you because you're so fun. And even one of the little girls was like, he's so funny.
Really?
When you had them run to me today, like you poke them and then you had them run to me. And then what did you tell them?
No, because they started following me off the field when I was going to
that's
football.
True. Yeah, he was. Going
So
to
then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to keep them a little bit more warmed up, right? Because they've been kind of standing still, like talking and wandering off. So I was like, well, here's a good reason for them to sprint to a set location. I was like, well, what makes it funnier to do it than to the other coach? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like I'm handing them off to you,
Okay.
So then I was like, hey, okay, guys, huddle up. I was like, all right, when I poke you, you run to the coach, And then they're like, oh, okay. I was like, all right, you ready? And so they're like anxious to get poked.
Uh-huh.
But I noticed that when I poked the first person, one moved into that spot like, oh, he's always going to go to this spot. so he went to that spot and I was like, all right, I poked him. And then by poke, I mean, it's just touch them with my finger, like right on their belly, right? And it was like they boop, and then they go, and I just like go. So they were just excited about it. They looked forward to it.
And these are a bunch of 5-year-olds.
Yeah, and I have to say they're the hardest ones because their attention
span is not there. It's
no
non-existent.
And trying to explain to them, oh, do this and run like this, and I don't know how many times I said, touch the ball with the inside of your foot, and they keep on going to the outside of their foot.
Yeah, or one little girl insists on kicking with her toes.
Her toes, yeah.
Yes, and I trying to explain to her that right now we want them to learn to kick with the inside of their foot. And
the whole ball control thing. And then they're cheating, it's like, oh, put the ball over here, but control, go around these cones and go in here. And they're like, and I'm going to kick it in there. Yeah, I'm good. I made it. It's like, no, that's not the point.
Yeah, you gotta go around each cone. We gotta learn to control the ball.
And then most of them are little girls, and they're, I guess now they're friends. They're bestest of friends.
They're all besties now.
They're
Yes.
holding hands and they're hugging and
In the field in the
picking
middle
flowers.
of the game and ladybugs. It's like, oh, look at the ladybug I found. And oh, look at this flower.
It reminds you of those old movies we watched as kids, like the Little Giants and stuff like that, where they're like, oh, or I'm a little princess. Or kind of like Kindergarten Cat.
Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time redirecting, like, okay, and you tell them to stand in the line. Do kids not stand in lines at school anymore? Like, is there no more single file taught at schools?
No, I don't think so, because even the football team has a hard time with it.
Oh my gosh, you just say, get in a single file line or please stand in line, and they all stare at you like, what?
Right, and
what
then
am I
and
supposed
the
to do?
funniest one for me was I said, all right, guys, fall in, shoulder to shoulder. And they were like,
What?
you want us to fall on our shoulders? And I was like, no.
I
Like, line up shoulder to shoulder. And they're like, oh. And then I'm like, all right, now spread your arms. And they're like spreading it like that. That's just like, no, like spread them to the side and then start
were they
making the
spreading
distance.
them in front of you?
Yeah, I was like,
Yes.
just make the distance between you and the guy next to you. Like,
Yes.
all right, perfect. I was like, now we can start stretching.
I had the same issue. It's like, let's stand arms length apart, and they'd all put their arms in front of them like zombies. Like, no, arms to your sides like this.
They were being little Frankensteins.
Yes, like little Frank. I was like, put your arms out, touch palms with your neighbor. And it just was not, the concept did not register.
Yeah, it's cute though. I mean, it's cute moments. It makes it
Yeah.
awesome. Like, you see them
And for the Pee-wee, because you're not there for the games on the
unfortunately,
Pee-wee
but I will
and the
next games.
youth. Yeah,
They've
for
moved
Pee-wee
the
you
schedule
will
for
be.
that one.
Yeah, but you still won't be there for the youth team, and it's definitely interesting the dynamic change. From the competition at that age of 5 to 7, and then we learned today that most of the kids are 7. Only one of them is 9. And everyone else is 7. So there's definitely, they're much more competitive between the 7 and 9 age group than they are, of course, at 5 and 6. And except for the boys. I mean, this is not to be sexist, but in all honesty, boys are extremely competitive. It is just part of being a male. And you see it in little boys when it comes to the things that they love to do, especially sports, because I see it on the field every Saturday. I'm seeing this on the field between the little boys and the little girls that we're coaching. And the boys, they just want to win. They just want to get that, and they're fast and they're focused on the ball, where the girls are more easily distracted because it's not really their thing.
Right, and it's funny because it is a guy thing, right? Like, have you ever noticed boys? You see them out, like, I'm talking about boys in general, just from boys to men, right?
Yeah.
And not the group, or not the music group, okay? Yeah. But it's more like we're kind of chill, like we're calm or whatever when we're out in public, or kind of looking. We act like goofballs around other guys, right? Because that's the guy thing. But then you put us like on competitive things, on sports things, and it's like when we like let go, and we put it all out there. We're like hustling and just being competitive and pushing each other, and like just trying hard. Like this guy's not gonna outdo me. And sometimes girls can be like that too, because our daughter's like that.
Yes,
our daughter's very competitive.
And I was going to say that not to say that there aren't little girls like this, because there's a couple little girls. There's one in particular on the Pee-wee team who is all, oh, look at the flower. Oh, hug me, bestie. But the moment the ball is in motion, she's on it.
Right.
Right? Is she as quick as the other little boys on the team, or as focused? No, but she's at least paying attention to the ball, whereas the other girls are still in la la land.
Right.
So definitely it's something that attracts her attention. So because it attracts her attention, like all of us, right? If we don't care for it, we're not going to do it. So part of the reason why, our son is doing the flag football, he's definitely one of those individuals who doesn't care for sports. And this is something we're kind of making him do. He said he wanted to, but we're pushing. We're going to say, okay, you're going to do it then. Like you said, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. There's no... changing your mind on this. And so what do you see on your side? Because I think all you have are boys.
On the flag football, yeah.
On the flag football, you only have boys.
Well, I was saying our daughter is very competitive in nature, and you know she just likes to push her limits and be competitive with her brothers and her cousins and whenever they're around. But
this is our 7-year-old.
Yeah, but I've noticed on the field today that she kind of recognizes the other teammates' skills. Mm-hmm. So then she's not really pushing herself that hard. She's like, I know what my limit is, and I'm gonna try this. And she still goes out there and she tries.
Yeah, which is
but she's
smart.
like, yeah. But then she's like, but I know that he's better than me, so I'll give him the ball, or I'll give her the ball. I know she's faster than me, so I think that's what makes her a good team player.
Well, and today's focus was teamwork. So every Saturday we have a word of the day, and so today's word was teamwork. And I was really trying to hone in the whole idea, especially with the 7-year-old group, that we have to work as a team. Like, the reason I put you guys in these different areas, so the reason you two are going to be defense, and the reason you two are going to be forwards, and the reason you're going to be center, the reason you're goalie this quarter is because you have to defend that space in case the ball comes into your area, you're able to get it. And I gave them examples and things like this. And this was, I think, before you got there. And, you know, because all the kids just want to go for the ball. And then when the fastest kid is kicking the ball, you know, to the middle of nowhere because no one is standing there, this is what I was pointing out to them. It's like, okay, so-and-so kicked the ball over there, and nobody was there to catch it when that was your area to defend or protect.
Look at you. I'm so proud of you right now. Like, you're starting to understand the sport now. Like, it's so funny because there's so many times I try to explain shit to you and you just blow me off like, like if I'm one of the kids talking about Fortnite, you know?
It's like, well, what do they say? You learn by teaching, right? You learn by teaching. So I've had to do my research. I've had to watch a lot of videos.
No, and I got to give you the credit too, because I remember when I left the football field on the first game and I ran to the field, right? And I just ran into the field and I started telling them, hey, okay, you guys are playing defense. I need you to cover this area. And hey, my midfielders, you're over here. Like, this is it. Like, you do this, you do this. And my strikers do this. So, and you were like, oh, okay. So they have to, like, yeah, it's not like the little kids, because I think they're at that age where they need to start understanding, like you said, like they have their designated area.
Yeah.
And whenever you just can't be running around Benny Hill style, running around with just everybody trying to kick the ball, right?
But it's hard. It's hard because the other teams aren't necessarily teaching the same thing. So, or being taught the same skills, or it's not even being emphasized, because definitely, so this league has put a whole, let's make it fun emphasis on the whole thing.
Right.
Because we don't want kids to hate the sports.
Right.
But at the same time, you can't teach them how to do a sport if they don't understand the reason why they have to do certain things, right? Anything in life, right? Mm-hmm. But in particular for this situation, you know, I've had to learn what all the positions are for this age group, and trying to emphasize the whole idea. Okay, I need you. We're learning how to work as a team, and the way we work as a team is by protecting the area we've been assigned so that we can be there when the ball comes into our space.
Yeah, you just teach them on the basic fundamentals of everything, and then, the theory behind it.
Yeah, and
right?
like you said, not all Benny Hill, all in a little corner.
Right, yeah. And that's the beautiful about sports, though. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, right? A lot of people just think, oh, you're going out there and you're just trying to, you know, throw a ball or hit a ball or kick a ball or whatever it is, right? Yeah. I was like, what's the point? You're trying to get it from one place to another place. And this is why I had told you that I wanted the boys to mandatory one sport in high school. Like, that was going to be my one thing. Like, I haven't butted on anything else, but I said, it's because of what you learn when you're doing that sport. You learn that camaraderie. You learn that teamwork. You know, that hard work, that determination. Because you're practicing. And it's one of the things that makes it important is, like, you know what happens when you keep on practicing. It teaches you that. It teaches you the whole fact of, okay, if I'm playing this position, I need to practice doing this, because it's going to make me stronger a person on this one, but it's also going to help on my team, and it's also going to help me out. And then it makes you proud when you have that little victory or whatever, right? But you learn that camaraderie. You know what it takes. You know how hard work it is, and at the same time, it makes you realize, like, well, I failed this math test. Maybe if I would have done all the homework or read all the material or just practiced the little test, then I would have done great. And then they started correlating that stuff between the sport and life.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I was saying, that when it came to my work, I can tell right away the people that have been, work construction or played sports before.
Yeah.
Because that's one of those basic, like, hard work mentality of, like, I don't need a attaboy all the time for doing what I'm supposed to do. Like, I get my attaboy every paycheck or on my review or whatever. It's the same thing in sports. You do good and, hey, good job. Like, everybody comes to you and whatever not. But then that's the one thing about this league, is that they want you to celebrate everything. But then I also get it sometimes when there's a blown play or something goes wrong, and you got to tell them, hey, it's all right, shake it off. You know what? The game's not over, so just keep going. Because that's and I can see that with part of life, because sometimes we all go down, we all get down, we all fall down, and it's just about you get up, you dust it off, and you get back in the game, and you go after it to make that goal.
Yep.
Same thing with life, right? We all fall down. We have our moments. We lose our loved one, we lose a job, we're broke, but then it's like, fuck it, I got to get up, I got to dust it off, and I'm going to reach that goal, I'm going to make that goal happen.
So it's definitely a mentality, and you see it in the kids, especially at this young age. Now, the 5-year-olds, they don't seem to really care if they got a goal, they're excited, but if they don't get a goal, or if they miss, they're like, whatever, let me go get a flower. Their attention span is easily recouped,
but
right?
I think on that team we have, like you said, a boy that he's shy, he's quiet, and
but he loves soccer.
But he loves the soccer, and he loves what you put it in front of him, and he's all happy about it, and he's all about attacking it and going to score and everything.
Yeah.
But I've noticed from week 1 till now, like, he's starting to talk a little bit louder. He's starting to walk up to people more, because before he was like, his parents had to be next to him.
Yeah.
And that's when, as a coach, you kind of like start asking them random questions, like, do you have any pets, or who your superhero is? And then they say it out loud and they start feeling comfortable, and they're like, okay, this is a group of people that, I can probably have a conversation with.
Yeah. Every week has been different. Like,
it's a good social skill.
We're definitely learning. Like, dealing with your own kids is one thing, but anybody who's been a coach or is a teacher will definitely understand that teaching other people's kids is a whole different world.
Oh no, yeah. The last week, I was really like upset with my football team. I was like, what is going on with these guys? I get it. The first week, it was hard. It was a little chaos. Okay. This second week, we were trying to be more organized, or whatever not. And I realized that by trying to be too organized, and maybe I gave them too much knowledge, or I expected too much from them, and they seemed overwhelmed. And then this week I was more laid back. I was like, hey, no, you guys call it. I'm not going to be controlling everything for you guys. Like, I've taught you the basic stuff for 3 weeks now. And I want to see how you guys handle driving it, And if you need any help, I'll guide you through it. I'll still coach you. But, it's like, I tried to make things easier for you guys. You guys didn't like that. You don't like that structure. I was like, let's see what happens. Then it got to a point where, like, okay, coach, can you help us out with this? Hey, coach, what play are we running? I was like, okay, you guys sure you want to do this? And yeah, it was a big difference. It was a big difference. In 3 weeks, the turnaround has been awesome on them. So
that's good.
So we'll see.
That's good. My 7-9 group, 7 to 9 group, they are killing it right now, because I remember the first game they didn't win, and we have a couple of very competitive players on that age group, on the youth group. I'm just going to say the youth group versus Pee Wee. On the youth group, we have some very competitive, both boys and girls, and in the first game, one young man got so emotional about not making a goal, right? Because I think it hit the post or something. He didn't make it in, and you were shocked by that reaction, which made me laugh, because you've told me you've reacted similarly as a older young man. So it's just, the love and the passion for wanting to win, right? And so the second game, when we're in practice, they're all like, "Hey, coach, can we win this time?" I said, hey guys, that's completely on you guys. If you guys can work together and if you guys can be focused to get that ball into the goal. And they did. They killed it. They won 6-0. So, and then this week we won 4-0. No, I'm sorry. They won 6-1, and then this time they won 4-0. So, they're, I mean, and they're good listeners. I'm really enjoying this age group because there's one or two kids that don't really listen. There's one little girl who, she just wants to run with the ball. And if she's not running with the ball, she's kind of like, ugh, I don't really want to do anything else, which is kind of disappointing because I really liked her the first week or the first 2 weeks, but this time she was kind of like, eh. And then there's another little girl, there's always those kids that are just standing there, because I see on other teams, there's also little boys who are just standing there, So again, these are the kids you see that the parents are probably forcing them to do something that they don't really want to be doing. And what do you do with those kids, right? You just kind of keep telling them, just come on, just try, go for the ball, you got this, you can make it, and just trying to keep that positive attitude instead of sitting them out, or definitely can't get angry at them. You don't know what's going on in their heads, right? So again, all this different dynamic of children and little attitudes that you have to deal with, and how to manage those, and check yourself as a parent because they're not your kids, is definitely it's a chore for sure.
Yeah, everything is, but yeah, it's definitely with the when other people trust you with their own kids.
Yeah.
And
then you got those judging eyes.
No, yeah, and it's more of you got to be careful because, like you said, we do things different with our kids, and that might be different with their kids, and then maybe they don't raise their voices, or they don't, or maybe they raise their voices too much, and you might have a kid that shuts down because that's something intimidating to them. So that's what part of the reason why, as a coach, it's kind of hard to. You got to watch what you say or how you do it, especially like now with the way things are, or the league, especially with these little kids, and you wanna make it fun for them, especially when they're so tiny. They're still tiny little kids, and so that's part of the reason why I kind of try to make it fun for them, and joke with them, and try to talk to them in a way that they kind of understand it, and then make it fun for them also. But then there's times when it's like, hey, come on, like even for me on the football team, there's times when I give them the little smart ass comments, So, there's been incidents. I'll just go over one real quick. Somebody was like, "Hey, why are we wearing a mouth guard? Like, that's for tackle football." It's like, well, you're still running, you're still contacting the moments in here, so you fall down. I don't want you to, bite your tongue off or cut your lip or break a tooth or something. Oh no, that's dumb. And then 2 plays later, they fall down and they hit themselves. And and that's why you wear a mouth guard, And I was like, and just so you know, like, hey. That's part of the rules, so you you need it, or you won't be playing. Don't be surprised if you get kicked out of the game,
Yeah.
And we had that incident today where we're out there and we're playing, and then, the ref was like, "Hey, where's your mouth guard?" So we had one kid that didn't have a mouth guard, so I went to sub him, and of course the one coming in doesn't have a mouth guard. I was like, "Oh crap!" And then he looks at the other team, was like, "Wait, the other team, nobody's wearing a mouth guard." I was like, "All right, we're calling this game then." And then everybody just starts running to the tent to buy mouth guards.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, rules are put in place for the kids' safety, but
safety.
It's on the parents also.
Right.
Right?
And it's another one of those things, right? Like the kid with the mouth guard. I get it. And he probably has a dad that, in a way, is like, nah, like it's flag football. You don't need that. Like, be a man, suck it up. But,
for this league,
no, you can't. And I get it. They're kids. It's their safety. It's important. So, yeah, there's dynamics about it, and it's been interesting. On top of it, I wish that I wish I can sit down and enjoy watching my kids play and laugh at them at moments, and, just have a good time. Like some of the parents, I've seen some parents that really don't look at their kids. They're just there to socialize with other parents. I've seen other parents that are very loving, supporting. You get all aspects of it, right?
Yeah.
But
which is why the kids, it kind of helps if you're able to pay attention. I don't even pay attention to the parents on the sideline because they're judging you and they're watching everything you do
right,
with their kid, right?
But but at the same time, if there's something wrong, I hope that they'll like have the balls to come and talk to me and
Yeah.
let me know like, hey man, I didn't appreciate that. I was like, all right, well, thanks for letting me know. It's kind of like when I started. It's like, hey, I know that there's parents that want to bring snacks for the kids after the game or whatever. Like, let us know, contact whatever. You created that whole texting group.
Yeah.
For the same reason, and one of the things I asked was like, hey, let me know if there's any allergies, because if somebody doesn't come up, I might just bring peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I don't want to hear later on like, oh, you get my kid peanut butter and they're allergic, they're peanuts. I was like, well, I asked since before we started,
Yeah.
for allergies, and nobody ever told me, so I figured everybody was clear, right?
Yeah.
So you can't be mad about stuff like that. So it's a lot of things, right? There's a lot of things to consider, but it's been awesome. I mean, it's been stressful. There's a lot of times when I'm like, oh man, like why did I do this? But then when I see them, how happy they were, like today at the soccer team, or when they get their medals. Each week.
That's another topic.
Yeah. Well, let's just go over it quick. I don't
Okay.
want to go around. Like every week, whoever meets the word of the day, whatever the values are, that they get they're recognized for it, so they get a medal. So they're little kids. So
And that's the whole point, right? It's because they're kids but we were talking about this whole being recognized and being praised for everything that we do. And in a way, like I get it for the 5-year-olds, I guess, that's why they get stickers. Like when kid gets a medal and everyone else gets a sticker.
but those are the tiny ones. From there
that's
on,
for
nobody else
Pee-wee.
gets it.
That's for Pee-wee. But the youth group up, they don't. Someone wins, they get the medal. Every week it has to be a different kid.
And they have to meet the definition.
And
That's
they
why
have
I
to-
don't mind it.
But it's hard sometimes.
Yeah, but not for me. For me, I make it very easy. If the moment one of them shows something that's not the value, to
Yeah.
me in my mind, they're automatically eliminated.
Well, sometimes it's hard because there's just one kid in the group who shows the values consistently and you can't give it to them again. And then you have to pick another kid who probably didn't meet 100% everything. For example, I've had to give a medal to I picked one kid forgetting that I had already given them a medal. And they're like, oh, wait, they already got one. I'm like, oh, my bad. And then I had a second place person, but the reason I didn't choose that person in first place was because they really weren't focused. Like they played the game well when it was time to play, but during practice or during other things, they were kind of like in la la land. So that made them my second choice. It's like, okay, when they were focused on the ball,
Okay.
they were good, but they meant that the fact that, like you said, in practice, they weren't necessarily focused, or maybe parts of the game, they weren't a little focused, that made them fall to second.
That's how it works, though.
Yeah. And then I picked them, but I think like in the eyes of the parents, it's like, oh, well, that was like by default. My kid didn't really win. You know what I mean? So it's like,
So well, whatever. Who cares about what the parents say? It's like what happens with the kids. So for me, right? Well, on the flag football part, I gave it to my first week. I gave it to one of the kids, and everybody was like, "Oh, I thought the other kid was gonna get it for sure." And I was like, but in my mind, I was like, no, like the whole practice, he did not stand that. He did not show that, right? But I gave it to another kid that since the beginning he was all about it. Like he met the whole definition of the word.
and then
Enthusiasm, right? He
Yeah,
was enthusiastic
yeah.
the whole time. That was the subject for that word.
Yeah.
And the following week, no, he's coach. Oh man, I put that in my room. It's like right over my bed, so I can see it when I lay down. Like that's so awesome. I've never won an award before.
Oh, really?
Like,
You didn't tell me
yeah,
that.
he's just like so psyched about it. He's like, oh man, like it feels so good. Like you have no idea. Like I love that medal. I never won an award like that before, and I was like, so awesome. I was like, yeah, man, you deserved it. You're doing great, man. Just keep on doing what you were doing.
But you said he was being negative.
That was
that
last
day.
week. I went through a little batch of a whole bunch of kids going through, like, having their moment. We're being negative. But, I mean, obviously, if he didn't want it, he would have been eliminated. The one that met it was our kid, but he didn't get it because I was like, I don't want people to think that. And because
Favoritism.
he's favoritism.
That's how I felt last week, too.
So, but like this week, we were talking about teamwork. And, the thing about our son is whenever I say, go sit down, hit the bench, he doesn't talk back. He hustles out the field. And I say, okay, go in for this person. And he goes in there. And he's like, okay, I'm in for you. Oh no, I was like, and then they'll start arguing or whatever. I was like, oh, yeah, I get it. You want to play, but come on, just like he does it for you guys, do it back for him. It's the
It's
same
part of
thing. Like,
teamwork.
hey, okay, this kid's throwing a tantrum, doesn't want to play that position. Can you cover it? And he's always willing to do it and go that extra mile. And there's never no lip, no nothing.
But
And
it's also because you're his father.
yeah, but even for the other coach, he's been respectful.
Okay.
And so it's like, and once I said that, the other coach was like, "You're right. He has met. He's been perfect for it. Let's do it." I was like, "All right." I just wanted an agreement. Perfect. So there's good things, and even the kid that won the second medal, he was all very happy. He's like, "Coach, cool. Like, hey, my family was very happy to see that I got that, and it made me happy that I get it. I wasn't expecting to get that, I was like, I know there's a whole lot of other better players in the field than me. And I'm like, no. You're a pretty good player, man. You'll get better as the time goes, but you showed heart, like, and that's why you get it, like,
And it's kind of nice then that you have that other coach on the flag football team to bounce those type of things off of. Like for me with the other kids, you're not there to watch them play the whole time. So it's hard for me to bounce who should win off of you, based on what you saw on the field, because you're not seeing it. You see a little bit, of the last one, you don't see the whole thing. So then I might have a kid in mind, and then I think there was one last week or the week before, you come in and you're like, oh, that kid should get it. But in my head, I had somebody else in mind because I had been watching them the whole time.
But that's when you should have told me something.
Yeah, I know I should have said something,
So
but
for the time that I was
the
there,
first game.
yeah, for
I
the
think
time that I
first
was there,
game.
what I saw the whole time, I was like, that kid is like doing it, But like you said, I missed a practice and I missed,
Yeah.
probably the first half of it.
Yeah.
So whatever happened between there, I missed it, and that's when you were like, I was like, well, I just pointed to the kid, I was like, that one. I was like, that one.
And then that kid left the team.
And yeah,
He's
and
gone. Like he was the best player, what you saw of him, but then now he's completely off our roster. We have no idea. We received no warning that he was dropping or switching
and so,
teams.
but see now, well, let's say we we have a lot of military people, as we learned. So maybe they just got some orders or something happened in their life, and they're gone, and they got that award now, and they have that as a memory now.
Yeah,
like, hey, you know what? I have this. I remember. So they have that one happy moment.
Yeah.
So
maybe.
So in a way, it worked out. Maybe it helps out their ego down the road. Okay. But yeah, so youth sports, it's been interesting. It's been hard. We've been bouncing up and down. I added more stuff to my wife's plate. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry about that, Bev.
Okay.
But you're doing great. You've been killing it, and the kids are responding to you.
How many more weeks of this do we have?
We got about 5 more, I think.
5 more weeks.
Yeah.
5 more Saturdays. Woohoo!
And it's been interesting with the parents, and parents have been very loving and supporting. And you can tell there's some parents that want their kids kind of like out there like we do because they want to be active and have fun and meet friends. So I know it's a lot of work for a lot of parents to do that and to become coaches also. But believe me, I think in the long run, your kids, if you can ever volunteer and be a coach for your kids or assistant coach when they're young, it just creates a special bond between you guys. It's my experience from our oldest boy. He tells me at moments that he's like, "Hey, Dad, I know you were hard, or you were tough, or you demanded a lot from me because of being the coach's son, but I thank you for it because they gave me like a different work ethic when I'm on the field. Like I know that."
And now our oldest has started football training.
Right, and now he's gonna have somebody that's not related to him. Coaching him, and he's gonna realize that, my dad was just being a coach.
Yeah,
because that was the difference between him and the other 3. He got me as a coach, like no censor, no worries, no nothing. The tough love, the clipboard to the helmet,
no PC.
The sit your ass down. Like, what the hell was that? Like your bench. Like, what do you mean you don't have your gloves? And get off my field. You shouldn't be here. You're not ready for the game.
Yeah.
That's the type of coach I was with him, because that's how my coaches were with me.
Yeah.
So it teaches you stuff. Like I said, it teaches you to be responsible. Like, oh shit, I got a game. I got to have all my stuff ready. I don't want to get sent home or be benched because I'm missing something.
Yeah.
If you don't have the tools that you need for the job, then you shouldn't be doing the job.
Yep.
So that was a lesson, in which I hope some of those kids in the lacrosse team learn. Like I always remember that little kid screaming at his mom for not having her. Where's my gloves? I was like, whoa, is your mom playing lacrosse or are you playing lacrosse? Well, I am. I was like, why don't you get your bag ready? I was like, you don't talk to your mom like that. Go run me some laps. I was like, I see your mom with a baby and you have like another sibling and stuff. I was like, and she's a wife and she's your mom and everything. It's like, and I was like, come on, dude. Help her out,
Yeah. But, I mean, that's on the parents, too, right? Because she might be one of those moms who just does everything for her kids. And so they just expect it of her. So, I mean, we know, lots of families like that.
Yeah, moms are out. That's a natural mom thing, though.
Yeah,
Most moms.
But, I mean, there's also moms out there who aren't like that. So, I mean, there's
yeah,
some
exactly.
moms
But
who
the kids won't be.
overdo it.
But then those kids are not like that.
But there's some moms who overdo it, where like they literally do everything for their kids. They clean their rooms, they make every single meal exactly the way they want it, they do their laundry, they clean their bathrooms, they do all these things for them, and they never have, the boys especially, never have to do anything. I know there's lots of girls out there these days the same way, but I'm definitely not one of those moms.
Yep. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, my dad didn't raise my brothers that way either. I mean, other than my mom. Yeah, my mom babied them more.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks.
No, because you try to do that with our boys for the longest time, and I was the one when they got to a certain age where I was like, enough. Like, let them do it. Let them figure it out.
Yeah, and now their room's a mess all the time.
Yeah, and so they say we cleaned it, right? Like the last time they said, "Do we clean it?" And then you went in there and you're like a typhoon moved everything around for them. It was like, hey, right, that's clean. And then they're like, oh crap. Damn. Yeah. All right.
When
okay.
I went to clean their room, and you're like, hey, your mom's in your room, guys.
Yeah, and then they were done doing the backyard work, and then they were rushing to get it back inside, and like,
before
crap.
I threw all their stuff away.
So, but see how they learned though. That's the thing. Those are the good things about it.
I don't know that it's a lesson learned if they keep doing it, because that room's a mess
Not now.
already.
Not now. How many times did your parents tell you shit and you didn't listen to them because you knew more than them? But now that you're a grown up, you realize that the shit that they told you makes sense.
My room was always clean though.
Well, that was you. Okay, that was you. That's how you were at that when you were a kid, right?
Not anymore. I think I've reversed. Now everything's a mess.
But I mean, what, you want me to play a violin for you or something?
No.
Like you got fucking 4 kids, 3 freaking coaching jobs and a job and everything. It's like,
and
come on,
5
woman.
kids. I have you.
I'm not a kid. I might act like a kid sometimes.
Yeah, that's the one right there. You act like a kid.
How do I act like a kid? I barely even fucking see you. What are you talking about?
You leave your socks in the
What did I get
living
married
room.
for?
Okay, well, the oldest one is in football, and what did you tell him about Hell Week? Oh, it's not supposed to be called Hell Week. Football camp.
Yeah.
You told him that's the closest thing to boot camp. The closest taste of boot camp he's going to get.
Yeah.
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 And he took it as a challenge, I think.
Good. We'll see. He's getting at that age where he's starting to probably start thinking about the future and becoming a man, becoming an adult. He wants to drive. He's still on this whole thing. I'm going to be in the military. So I already had a little talk with him about, the risk about doing that and what's going to happen and what it does to the people around him and his immediate family. And so if he still wants to continue with that, then all I can do is get him prepped. Because, our kids are soft. Bottom line, they're soft.
Yeah, I think most kids are soft these days. I mean, we see it on the field.
But the military's also become pretty soft from what I've seen and heard. So,
true too.
I'm just going to try to make it easy for him to succeed if that's the path he wants to go. Because if everybody's become so soft, and I'm kind of making them a little bit harder, getting rid of those soft hands.
It'll be cakewalk.
That'll be easy. I mean, look at our oldest, when she got the chance, she's like, yeah, boot camp was cakewalk that, thanks. Like you and Mom S made it, how you guys were with me for the time being, and I was a dumb little girl, and I don't want to be around because, you guys are like, fold your clothes and watch this, and you're old enough, and you should be doing this, and you should be doing that, and I don't want it that way, and the way that you talk to me, and the discipline, and the structure, And I was like, when it came to it, I was like, yeah, okay, this is easy. You know, people are over there in the bathroom crying and having a hard time because they don't know how to wash clothes or fold their clothes. And I'm over there getting all my stuff is done, just chilling, writing letters or reading a book, you know, because that's all the crap you guys taught me. Or, you know, when you gave me that tough love, you know, it was like the drill sergeant stuff was like, oh, man, my dad's called me worse shit than this.
All the psychological abuse.
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
No, it's not psychological abuse. It's training.
No, that's what a psychologist the
Of
ones
course.
nowadays.
Yeah, pacification of the
Nowadays.
nation.
Yep. So, but our son, you know, we'll see where he goes. He's still got a couple years before he makes that final decision. But now he's started on this whole football thing, which he didn't want to do. But you gave him a choice between sports, and this is what he chose. Even though I think it's the hardest of.
Yeah, I started thinking of like it's funny because the way I think his coach runs stuff, it's not that much different than when I was a kid.
Yeah, when
So-
I was at that meeting, because it was a mandatory football meeting for all the parents that were going to be, you know, participating, their kids are going to be participating. And even our son was just like, Dad should be here. I'm like, yeah, he'd be enjoying this meeting probably more than I do, but it's just.
Maybe not.
it's your
Maybe I would have
world.
been like,
Or maybe you would have criticized it.
yeah, maybe I just would have been like, well, what am I supposed to be shocked by the stuff you're saying? Like, this is normal stuff. What? But then it would have probably angered me because, like, wow, this is what coaches have to do now. They have to have a meeting to let the parents know what they're going to do with their kids or how they're going to work them out or, you know, what's expected of them
Yeah.
because of that's how soft everybody is now.
Maybe.
You know, I was like, hey, I'm going to raise my voice at you kids sometimes, okay? Or we're gonna run here, we're gonna run there, we're gonna do this, and
No,
we're gonna
he
work out these
never-
days,
he
and we're
never
gonna run
went
from
over any of that.
we're gonna work. Yeah, he did. He told me that. He's like, we're gonna work
Yeah,
out from this
he
time to
did.
that time.
Yes,
yeah,
he did
exactly.
say
They're giving
that.
a heads up so that later the parents are not like, oh my god, you're working out again. Oh, it's so early till so late. Oh my, are they trying to kill you? I need to go to the school and talk to the principal or the school board because this is inhumane what they're doing to you guys and blah blah and my baby's pussy's bleeding and. Oh, baby got a boo boo. Let's go get a band aid. And, you know,
Well,
like,
I mean,
that's where they're at now.
That's
Like,
why we have all those dang disclaimers on everything because there's always some idiot out there who
idiot. Idiot is singular. So, I don't-
idiots. There's some idiot. I said, well, there is some idiot who decided to think that whatever it was
Yeah.
for something else.
So when you're telling me all the stuff, and you two were telling me, I was like, yeah, okay. All right. And you were like, oh my God. You kind of like in moments you were like, I can't believe they're just like, that's normal. That's
It was more like a question because I don't know anything about football.
Yeah, I was like,
I don't
yep,
know how it works
that's normal. I
or
was like, yeah, that's
training.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, because he's got like weight training right after school, which hasn't really happened because he says the weight room's always busy with all the other teams in there, all the other sports, and then he's got, and that's like a 45-minute thing. I think 45 minutes in the weight room, and then like a 2-hour practice after school every day. So it's supposed to be not on Fridays, but based on the schedule, it looks like it is going to be even on Fridays. And it's for the rest of the school year and all through the summer and into August. So
That's football life.
yeah, that's what I hear. That's
Yeah.
what I'm understanding.
Baseball
they
life
were
is
trying
harder.
to trying to recruit me for all these
I don't
parent
know.
volunteer things.
Imagine in baseball when it's kind of like pretty much in baseball it is pretty much a year round. You know?
He's got not our oldest isn't, but the 11-year-old, he's got a couple of friends who are on ball teams, and all I ever hear, you can see who the baseball parents are because they all huddle together all the time, and all they do is talk about where they've been, like, oh, we got to drive to this, or we got to go to this camp, or we got to drive to this game, or we got to do this, we got to do that. So I'm just like, I've heard how busy that baseball life is compared to the others.
Yeah. So if you're a sports parent, just know that it's a long road, but it's fun. But it's also very scary. Like I started
If
thinking
you're coming into sports.
but don't be intimidated. There's always a group of parents. I'm sure you'll find somebody to talk to, and they can help you and guide you through the experience of it.
Who, me?
No, I'm
With
talking
the
about
football?
parents.
Oh.
I'm talking to parents. just parents that are thinking that one day their kids are going to be doing sports or not be doing sports.
I don't know.
It's a commitment. It's not just a commitment for the kid, but it's also a commitment for the parents because you're the ones going to drop them off for practice or picking them up from practice or, going for doctor appointments. And then, unfortunately, sometimes there's injuries and the rehabs and all that stuff. That's, and you're kind of like, well, he's just a baby or she's just a baby. They shouldn't have to be going through this stuff. But it happens. And sometimes as parents, you're like, nope, now my kid's not going to do it. But, if your kid in their heart, they love it and they want it, you just know that you're kind of robbing them from something that.
But what if they don't
there's
want
their
it
passion.
and they're only doing it because they feel they have no option?
Well, they're only doing it because they feel they have no option. Well, I mean, the experience is going to be there. They're going to learn. I mean, what do you think happens in life? There's people that are in marriages that, they're stuck on it because there's no other option.
Oh, no, there's always another option. You just don't want to pay for it. But I'm talking about.
Exactly. So then they're going to have to pay for it if there's no other option, right?
I did talk to him because he's planning on still doing either. I don't remember if he's going to continue with the guitar or he's trying to join choir again for his junior year. But I told him, I said, hey, you better get all that stuff straight in your head because if you're going to be playing football and your games and practices are going to interfere with your commitment to your choir class because of, different recitals or whatever.
Guess what he's learning?
Time management.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what I was telling him though. Like, you need to think about that. Like, if you're going to be playing football, then you need to understand that these other things you're trying to do that that I know you love are probably you're not going to have time for both. Or you're going to have to figure, and then on top of all that, you've got your homework to get done. So you either figure out your time management or something's going to give. And you need to understand that now before you get too far into any of it. And so he says he's going to...
You know what I call that?
Handle it.
You know what I call that?
Growing up.
I call that life.
Yeah, growing up. So he said he's going to handle it. So we'll see. We will see.
Yeah, I call that life. I mean, you're gonna be doing that for the rest of your life. Yeah. So that's that. I mean, I don't think it's a lot. Like, yeah, I thought about it. It's like, oh man, I don't like. He's not gonna do so good with tackling. Like, he's gonna hate it when he gets tackled or whatever.
He's already told me, he's like, Mom, I haven't even been tackled yet, and I hurt so bad. After
that's
3 days,
muscle soreness.
3
because
days
he's
of
weak.
working out.
Yeah, but that's weakness,
he's
right?
Like, I haven't even gotten tackled.
Well, he's using muscles that he's
hurts.
never used before. That's the thing. He's working out in a way that he hasn't worked out before.
Yeah.
So he's being introduced to something. So let's say that he starts doing this and he doesn't care for the football. And he's like, you know what? He can drop off at any time. He cannot make grades. Like I said, he might just ride the bench. It doesn't mean he's going to play. But guess what? In the process, he might be like, you know what I realized? I realized that I really do like running. So maybe I should join track. Or maybe at the end, he's like, you know what I realized? I really do enjoy about lifting weights. Maybe I want to be a bodybuilder. Or maybe I want to specialize in sports therapy. Or maybe I want to, work with muscles and be such a...
taking anatomy next year.
Okay, that doesn't mean shit. You can take geometry and it doesn't mean he's going to be, or physics and he's not going to become a chemist. Like, it's
I don't know why you're dismissing what I said.
No, it's
you're
just being basic because you're trying to
medicine.
contradict it.
No,
so,
I'm not. You said sports
I'm just saying,
medicine,
yeah, exactly.
And I said, oh, well, he's taking anatomy next
year. All right, great. So that can lead to it too. Then put it together and then that just creates into something bigger. Like, it's an introduction. That's all I'm doing. It's not like I forced him to start playing football since he was like 5 or 6. Would I have wanted that? Probably, yeah. I was like, hey, let's go play sports. Let's go do this. But I didn't. I always said, I'll respect it. But if they go this whole time without doing it, like, I just want 1 year. Like, just try out. Just try out. It does not even, I never said you have to play it. I just said, show up, try out, do the work, and we'll see where that goes. Like I said, if you're saying nobody gets cut, it's probably because that's the problem. Not a lot of parents have brought up their kids to try to add a sport or do anything. So they're just fine being at home playing video games or not doing anything. And then that's when you get all this depression and all this kids with all those mental issues because they just didn't have something to let go of that pinned up anger or that energy.
And that's how you see sports. You see sports as a a place to let go of your life frustrations.
It's therapy. It's another form of therapy. People run,
Like
people
working
roll,
out.
people. Yeah, it's a workout. You're out there and you're working out.
Okay.
It's physical. You're working out the whole time. You're working out, that's why I was like, just try it. Just try it once. You don't like it, fine. You know. I'm not saying, oh, now you got to go to college and do this. Now you got to do like what's the one thing I always tell him? You want something, you have to show the effort that you want it, that you're gonna do the work for it. Like it's you, it's for you. Like have the drive for it, and that's part of the lesson. I can't spoon feed you your whole life because I'm not gonna be around for your whole life. I'm here to guide you and help you succeed in what you want to do, but I'm not gonna do the work for you because it's for you. So you have to do it for yourself. I can help you, I can support you, but I'm not going to do it all for you. I'm trying to be the father that I didn't have. You know, my dad was a provider, but he wasn't around that much. So I'll try to be there for my kids, and I just try to introduce them to things so that there's lessons that I learned, and I want them to learn and perfect it with my guidance and help them through them. It's my job as a dad. That's what I like to think. I want to be a provider, but I also want to be there, and I want to help them out along the way. I'm not going to be holding their hand, but I will be standing behind them in case they need the pickup or they need the little help dusting off, because I'm not always going to also pick them up. Or there's going to be the times as a father where I will just sit there and watch them take care of it themselves and be like, doesn't that feel good that you reached that by yourself? You made it happen. Welcome to, life. Everything's connected. There are lessons. Everything is a lesson. It's what you take away from those lessons and how you deal that helps you and molds you to become the human being that you're going to be and the grown-up that you're going to be, the man you're going to be, the husband you're going to be, the father you're going to be, the son you're going to be. So I was just trying to make things easy for my kid. Thought that introducing him to something that I loved, that I learned a lot from as a kid, that I didn't realize it, that later on in life, now that I look back at it, I correlate the lessons that I took, the regrets that I have, the what ifs that I have from it. I just thought there would be something that would be a good lesson for my son, for my sons, because they're boys, and I'm trying to raise men, that we don't no longer have. And these are things that help them become those men that traditional male. I'm not talking about being a sexist, but I just mean, a man, a tough, rugged life, self-dependent man, qualities of sometimes you got to run, sometimes you got to punch, sometimes you got to tackle.
Okay, well, yeah, so we did a thing and we became coaches and assistant coaches for Little League, and our oldest one
Little League.
I'm sorry.
For yeah, there shows no sports.
Pee-wee soccer, youth soccer, and they call it senior flag football. Even though they're like, 10 plus.
That's because it's called senior, because that once they get past that age group, that becomes like more of a committed league, or like a traveling team.
Yeah, I don't see
that's
that
when they start doing the
happening.
clinics or everything like that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we did that, and our eldest joined the football team or is going to football practice at school, and we will see how that all works out over the rest of this spring and into the summer. So thank you guys for joining us, and any parents out there that are contemplating being coaches. It's a lot of work, and it can be a lot of work. Hopefully you have a good league or a good organization that you're joining through. But the kids, ultimately, I think, especially if you're coaching your own kids, they will appreciate it.
Yeah, stay strong, stay positive. You'll be doing fine. And if you can, try to get your wife to help you. They're great at micromanaging everything. So that makes it a whole lot easier, too.
Unless, of course, the husband's the micromanager, because that happens on occasion.
Yeah, rare.
So.
That's very rare.
All right, people. Well, thank you for joining us. You guys have a great rest of your week. Bye.
Bye.